Chip, I think we might have completely screwed this up.
Okay, what did we screw up this time, Jeff?
Well, not really us, but I'm talking about the entire XRP community. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, is that where we're going to start today?
Well, well, actually, we're starting there because for years we've actually been hearing that XRP is a payments token, XRP is for banks, XRP moves money. Okay, great. But then Ripple comes out this week and starts talking about AI agents paying each other. RLUSD, stablecoins, quantum readiness, autonomous commerce. And I'm sitting here going, what exactly are these people building?
Well, that's exactly where my head went too, because I'm looking at this and from a distance, you're saying, whoa, what's going on here with this agentic agents? Because if you look at any one of these stories individually, you just go like, it's just a one-off type of story. But then you start putting them all together and it starts looking like Ripple has been building something, or at least building towards something in a way that's really bigger than probably most people even realize.
And you're right. That's actually the crazy part. Everyone's still arguing about the next XRP target. Meanwhile, Ripple's over here building infrastructure, real infrastructure for AI agents to transact with each other. And that's crazy.
Yeah, it actually sounds insane, but then you realize when you actually start looking at it, it's the tools that are going to allow you to actually put it together and execute.
The tools that allow you to execute. Exactly. So today we're going to connect all of these dots because by the end of this show, you may come out to the same exact conclusion that we have. It was never about XRP.
Now, that might make a few people a little bit hot under the collar, Jeff. It's possible. You know?
You know what I say to that? Good. Let them be.
Well, let's go. You ready to get in? Let's dig. Go.
Let's go.
Are you down with OTC?
That's it. You down with OTC?
Welcome to On the Chain.
Damn, those buttons are very close to each other, Jeff.
Okay. Are you down with OTC? Welcome back to On the Chain. I am Jeff. Here we go, is Chip. And before anyone's starting to light up the comment section, no, we're not saying XRP doesn't matter.
Yeah, because I can already see the incoming already. You know, Chip's like, oh, XRP doesn't matter. Jeff doesn't like it anymore. Oh, it's all about price. That's not exactly what we're saying, Jeff.
Not even close. What we're saying is that when you actually look at everything Ripple announced this week, it starts looking like XRP may be part of a much bigger strategy than most people have actually been talking about.
Yeah, and Ripple hasn't been touting from the rooftops that XRP is their North Star for no reason. You know, there's a lot that's caught my attention because if Ripple only had announced one thing, yeah, okay. But you can kind of see the more and more is happening on a pretty regular basis. You know, maybe it's just another headline, but that's not exactly what happened.
You know what, Chip? Not even close. You've got Ripple talking about AI agents making payments. I still can't get over that part. You've got RLUSD expanding. You've got Bitso launching MXNB on the XRP ledger. You've got Fortune naming XRP one of the most influential projects in crypto. And you've got Ripple actively preparing the XRPL for a post-quantum world. Say that again. Post-quantum.
Say it 3 times fast. Can't even say it once. Post-quantum world. Post-quantum world, right? PQ, what is it? W. That doesn't even.
PQW.
Sometimes the acronyms don't work, Jeff. And then, you know, here's the weird part, right? So it always seems like none of these things have anything to do. They're just sort of one-offs. And so you kind of like zoom out from a higher level.
Exactly. And when you actually do get to zoom out and you think, well, you actually start asking a very different question. And that's kind of where you guys are all going to come to, because maybe Ripple wasn't building for where the market was. Maybe they've actually been building the market or building for where the market is actually going. Big differentiator.
Yeah, 100%, Jeff. And I think that's where we're going to go ahead and start today, because the first story by itself doesn't seem that important. Again, you got to put these, you got to kind of string them together. You got to put them in a way that you start connecting the dots, sort of change the way you look at the whole ecosystem as a whole. And it's not just Ripple, it's not just XRP, it's not the XRPL. There's a lot of interoperability that's going across chain everywhere, and the building's happening everywhere. And it's a very positive thing for crypto, even though, Jeff, you might hear a lot of criticism like crypto's dead. I'm seeing a lot of crypto's dead, especially the Bitcoiners. They're talking about crypto's dead, which is silly.
That's right. Got all these comments here. Got designation was sent here by Narc. El Jefe, new member today. You want to support on the chain? You know what you guys can do? You can join as a member. You know what that does? It keeps the lights on and keeps the AI agents well fed.
Yeah, and you got to keep those bastards well fed because they just eat credits like Pac-Man. They chomp them down, man. Jeff and I are always like pinging each other. Ran up against my limit again. And then what happened yesterday with Claude's new model, 72 hours and a few minutes old, and the U.S. government took that down. We'll talk about that a little bit. I'll have some critique on that. But before we get into that, I think it's probably time that we actually start talking about crypto, what's going on with crypto and how exciting it is. I think that we're living through a really interesting time, and it's the Clarity Act we're hearing is still on target before July 4th. I know it sounds crazy. I think it's going to probably happen. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, aside from all the stuff with the stable coins and interest and everything, nobody really cares too much about that if you're holding crypto. But we'll get into a little bit of that too. But here's JIO. He's from Ripple. He's sort of assumed the position that was vacated by David Schwartz, although it's not been official. David Schwartz was the chief tech officer. JIO is not, but he is, as I heard David Schwartz say, that he's the closest thing to his replacement, even though they haven't given him the official title, which I think they should, because I love his forward thinking. I love the way he puts his thoughts out there. I love the way he thinks about the ecosystem. I think the guy's brilliant. I followed him before he even joined Ripple, so it's really interesting. But let's talk about, here's JIO talking a little right here.
Our industry has recognized that Q-Day is no longer uncertain, but that it is coming. So I'm Ayo Akinyele, head of engineering for RippleX. There's been some recent findings about how a sufficiently advanced quantum computer can break today's infrastructure as it relates to cryptography. And we've been trying to be proactive in basically being ready for such an event. And we've put together a multi-phase roadmap to prepare for the event of a quantum attack. And this is something that is going to take the next few years. It's not just a software upgrade. It's actually a architectural transition of XRPL in a way that simplifies the migration for the ecosystem, but provides a proactive set of contingency plans to make sure that it's done in a straightforward and painless way. So it's broken up to 3 phases and a contingency plan phase. So the contingency plan phase is essentially a way to migrate accounts from what we have today to a post-quantum safe variant in a way that makes it difficult for a hacker that's empowered with a quantum computer to steal assets. The 3 phases that go along with that are, first phase to kind of experiment with the standardized signatures that work for the post-quantum era, and making decisions about which one of those signatures are appropriate for XRPL. And then phase 2 from that is executing based on the selected signatures and integrating that into Ledger and proving out that it does meet the requirements of XRPL in terms of reliability, security, and decentralization. The 3rd phase is really the migration of the entire ecosystem, right? And that is what will require a lot of different players in our ecosystem collaborating and working together, and we'll take feedback and iterate, from there. And so that's what I mean by an architectural transition that involves all the parties in the ecosystem to make this happen.
Yeah, and so you're hearing a lot about Q-Day. That's quantum day, right? That's quantum. That's the being ready, because the quantum computers now, what's interesting is that the developments in quantum computing has significantly jumped. And what they were predicting 2, 4, 5, 6 years ahead of time, as we've seen with AI, it's coming probably a lot faster than what people think, although we don't know, who really knows. But even the advancement that Google's made is leaps and bounds. So as new tech grows, and I imagine that AI will also help the advancement of building a quantum computer. And what does that mean? That means that you can build a computer that is powerful enough to break cartography. And you're talking about, so making it quantum proof is going to take some architectural changes, which is what, you heard Jay talking about there. And he's got the 3, Ripple has this 3 sort of phased approach to it about migrating accounts, but also making the XRPL quantum ready, meaning that And I love the fact that they're thinking about this now. It's also very huge on Ripple X to be thinking, and Ripple to be thinking about this in a way that they're being very proactive. Because Jeff, who's out there minding what's going to happen for a post-quantum world with Bitcoin, right? Most of the development work that happened with Bitcoin has been done for, years. And so how is that going to, who's going to touch the code that's going to change and make Bitcoin a post-quantum ready?
So that's a good question. Unless we see another fork, and we haven't. Trying to think the last time we saw a Bitcoin fork. It's been a little bit. In the beginning, it was real common, right? You think back, I mean, in the big hype craze and a little bit before, but there's all this talk. Oh, you got to fork it. There's all these difference of opinion, and you had Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Cash. You had all these different Bitcoins that were spinoffs. So how do you prepare? And that's a great question. Can you prepare? Can you make the change? Do you have to fork? Do you have to, have a whole new, Bitcoin focus that becomes quantum Bitcoin? And can Bitcoin be hacked by a quantum computer? Which I think has been a discussion for an ongoing time. What Ripple is talking about is really critical because of the infrastructure, because of what they're doing, specifically working with big financial institutions and making sure that their ecosystem is hack proof and moving into a new quantum reality. Then yes, for them, it's going to be mission critical. Are there any other crypto-based companies that are foresighted like this, that are looking out for all of the different elements that have to be stacked into it? And then, what does this mean for the industry as a whole? Because can Ripple do it on its own? Does it create other use cases? Does it create other narratives or paths for people to develop and build in support of a quantum reality? What does that payment infrastructure look like? Because in general, if we start thinking about what a quantum reality could mean for any potential hack of any financial institution, credit cards and beyond, what does that actually mean? What does that specifically mean for entrepreneurs and giving them opportunities to start structuring and building? Now, we just saw Chip yesterday, and you referenced it, which was Fable 5 and Mythos being yanked off of Claude, mainly because of the government reaction to, well, we can't have foreign interference, and you can't allow foreign actors to use this technology. And so they're digging into what that really references. Now, we're already at a level then, potentially, at least from a government perspective, that there's software available at retail that could be dangerous, right? So if that's the situation, how far away are we then, from quantum realization? We're not even there yet, but there's already, these opportunities for bad actors to influence X, whatever that might be. And we have to beware. So entrepreneurs are going to grow and build out of this. But companies like a Ripple and beyond have to prepare themselves also. I want to see others talk about this. I haven't really seen a lot of commentary from other crypto focused businesses that are saying, hey, yeah, we're actually concerned about hacking and quantum proofing. It just, they're just maybe not there yet. Ripple is.
Well, there's a lot to protect, and again, it's better to be thinking about it now. Who knows if it's 5 or 10 years off? But if you don't start thinking about it when it happens, you won't have time to think about it. It's going to be that quick. And so, moving right along here, let me go ahead and cue this next one up here. This is AI agents, Jeff. So we kind of teased this. We're seeing a lot about the AI agents, and people are saying that 2, 3, 4 years, it'll be all agents interacting with other agents, right? There's already websites where agents can talk to agents can do things. But in this sense, we played that clip from Tom Lee the other night where he said that because of AI is going to need blockchain for payments. It's going to need this indelible record. It's going to need, and blockchain is perfectly suited because of the advancements with AI. And I love his take because a lot of people are talking about this over here, a lot of noise. You got someone like a Tom Lee saying that the AI, the greatest thing will happen to blockchain. It's going to make advancements to blockchain, and especially in the payment ecosystem, which we always talked about being adopted But these AI agents that will be able to do things, and agentic meaning can work on your behalf. Of course, you got to give it limits, but the fact that it can actually do things and make payments is what makes the payment sort of economy start getting to the mass adoption. And this is a narrative that a lot of people are missing. RippleX put this post on X saying AI agents are the beginning to transact, pay for services, and settle value. This is key, autonomously. Today, we're introducing the XRPL AI starter kit. This is tools and integrations. We talked about this the other night. This is important. You got the XRPL docs NCP server. All that is a connector, right? It's like a router. You plug one thing in, and then you can go out to many. If you're using like a Claude, or if you're using, let's say, OpenAI, if you're using Codex, you got to be able to connect to multiple sources, and it allows. So you have a connector, and that's all an NCP server is. It allows you to connect. So now you got this connection, the XRPL, and they've also released Claude skills for doing recreation. And if you know how Claude works, skills is a large part. You're not necessarily prompting it. The skill, you can say, hey, create this wallet using this / whatever skill. And from that, you're able to then go ahead and create. So what does this do? What does this really mean? Well, for the masses, it means that if you had an idea about the XRPL and said, hey, I've always wanted to build X, well, good news is you don't need to hunt for a developer anymore. You can actually build it yourself. And that's, Jeff and I have been building for months now, furiously building stuff. I'm just finishing up an app for the App Store. I finished up a website the other day, and, Jeff's building some heavy infrastructure stuff that he can probably talk more about. But it's mind-blowing stuff. It's stuff that it would have taken hundreds of thousands of dollars to create in teams of people that you're able to do yourself. So I would take a real strong look at a kit like this. And then there's the X402 support, and that's the agent-to-agent payments. So you can use, between XRP, RLUSD. If you had an idea and said, I've always wanted to build this, or I always wondered how come this doesn't exist, well, good news is you can go build it yourself.
I think this is really critical, at this point, because we have opportunities, and it's something that, I'm researching on my own, just trying to figure out what is like the next thing that people want to use. How can we be impactful with that, just within, my business, working with AI and trying to figure out how can you simplify, infrastructure, which is, I think, probably, the $1 million question. And a lot of companies are facing infrastructure, kind of streamline workflows where you have there's too many inputs, too many places to turn to places for information. AI is introducing, an easier mechanism, or at least a solution to start piecing all of the dots together into one unified solution. And if you think about all the different major inputs that you have, typically to unify, it's a custom build, to start. And we have a lot of sources that are pulling data, analyzing and providing reports. And so you have to bring it all into one location. And that's one of the things I've been working on. But from the payment perspective, it's really interesting because payments, especially within the agentic side, is just beginning. And so those that understand, and there's a lot of bright people out there that can start connecting these pieces, and they can use technology like that Ripple just put out there, and having that starter kit, go build something, go figure it out, put it into AI, spend the extra resource and money on the higher end plans within Claude, and then start leveraging what this actually means. And I can almost guarantee, what a lot of people out there can do. It's all about kind of a brain trust, right? So if we can get as many ideas into the forefront, because there's a lot of people that have ideas that they don't have the technical tools to present it. They don't have the software background to take idea to actual reality. Whereas then you have all these brilliant people, let's say like a David Schwartz or something, they stumbled on a good idea. They had the knowledge. They actually were able to build it. And then we see the infrastructure that starts being developed around it. But there's tons of people out there that have these ideas. They just don't have the resource to figure out. It's like, hey, how do I get the technical part of it? I think this could be an amazing thing, if I could just sit down with a technical person and have a technical partner to bring it to reality, that'd be amazing. Well, guess what? You have AI just sitting there waiting for these kind of inputs. And I think AI is also building at such a fast pace. Soon it's going to be out of reach for most people. Just my opinion.
Yeah, cost
I
wise.
hear people talking about, oh, anyone's going to build an app soon. Anybody's going to build a website soon. You know what? You know what I say to that? Bullshit. Because just the experience that I've seen myself and the experience that you've been running into trying to get the app to reality, and now also seeing the complexity at which these programs are developing and building up. Before it was simple, and now they are starting to add layers, and there's a lot of simplification to it, but they're definitely starting to add layers to make it more complex. But then if you have if you have something like a hyper agent, or hyper agent is an amazing tool, can do amazing things. So the question is, like, how do we start interfacing all of this, and at what level, what solutions should go away to where we say, hey, we don't need the app anymore. I don't need Microsoft anymore. I just had my agent build it. I asked it for an Excel spreadsheet. Boom, it just produced it. Right. I don't need it. Where are we in this? And this is all relevant because of what Ripple is focused on with quantum, what they're focused on with agentic payments. All of these things are coming into play right now. It's such a massive question, Chip. I just throwing it out there. But what are your thoughts on that? Like,
I think it's
what's the
huge.
next
I actually think that it's going to get simpler. And I think what I've seen done with Claude Fable is that you can one-shot things. So it used to be that the more prompting, the skill.md files for the memory style, all that kind of things you needed, it's sort of changing because like with Claude Fable, you could one-shot stuff. And it actually says in the official docs that you want smaller prompts. So as I was putting my prompt together, I realized it was getting out of hand. I was going to run it yesterday. I wish I would, because I would have one-shotted this website that I need to get done. And so now that the government shut it down, who knows when that's coming back. But when I was watching what people were doing, a lot of YouTube videos on it, but what I've noticed is that it's going to get easier for people. I think I think what happens is that you're going to get a lot of mediocrity flooding ecosystems. So, but where the benefit's going to come in is somebody who starts a SaaS, which is a software as a solution, SaaS-based thing where you're paying a monthly. Everything that you pay monthly is usually SaaS-based and enterprise. It got real big in 2008, 2009, 2010. A lot of companies cropped up. I think there's a lot of profit margin in it, but you need big teams to execute. We don't need that anymore. What I'm seeing, I saw a guy put out a post on X. He had 10 things listed. They were all open source, which were copies that you could go ahead and go to the GitHub. You could basically download it and have that program that you're paying $60 or $100 a month for free. And on the enterprise side, when I sold enterprise software, my entry point was $100 grand, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 on enterprise software, which is a lot of money. But these are enterprises that are 5 billion and above, right? That's who I sold to, and I sold to people that common names that are in the ecosystem. DTCC was one of my customers, and they need really strong software. So is this buy versus build mentality is also changing. I think that it was a little bit of a barrier maybe 6-8 months ago. I think not so much anymore. The bottom line is, do they want to have the overhead, or they just want a solution where they know they got a team of 300 working on it, and they know that because you got to constantly mitigate any risk with AI and all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of other trade-offs, not just the buy versus build. It's the maintaining that is the hard part, like keeping it up, making sure things are breaking on the back end, that there's overhead that goes with anything. So I think with AI, we're going to see a lot of things, but with these tools that are released by, Ripple X, I think is going to really be a game changer. You're going to see a lot more. I'm already starting to see a lot more people build on the XRPL, and they're using AI to do it. So Ripple comes out with this post here that Ripple and Bitso expanded their partnership. Bitso's regulated MXN-backed stablecoin, which is called MXNB. It's now going to be issued on the XRPL. It's going to be integrated into Ripple's payment on the DEX infrastructure, and it will support enterprise stablecoin settlement across the America. So together with RLUSD, MXNB, bringing regulated USD and MXN liquidity. And that's the key thing, liquidity to the XRPL's permission DEX. That's the decentralized exchange. The very first one that ever existed was built on the XRPL, and it helps real world enterprise payment flows. And you're starting to see all this amazing good stuff crop up. You know, XRPL Commons, put this out, check this out, make waves on the XRPL this summer. So you got 3 months to do one thing, Jeff. And what is that? You got to build something new and get people using it. The best projects walk away with cash prizes and an optional path to our incubator. I like this approach, Jeff, because generally you say like, hey, I got a project. Did you build an MVP, minimal viable product, product rather? And yes, I have. Now with AI and stuff, people, yeah, it already works. It's already processing payments. So they're going to go ahead and kick off a 2-day technical deep dive in the XRPL. It's going to happen on June 22nd. If you're thinking about it, if you're a builder out there, build it, ship it, grow it. That's it. Build it, ship it, grow it. So if you can get something off, you can find a way into the accelerator project. But again, you know, this is a great thing. I love the fact that this whole making the waves thing is cool. This is the summer on the XRPL. Go ahead and make some waves, build it, ship it, grow it. I love this, Jeff.
It's awesome. Very cool.
Fantastic. You're starting to see a lot more custom stuff out there for people. Ripple, check this out. This is interesting. Fortune magazine said we're not at the end of crypto, but rather at the start of a new beginning. Where writes for Fortune's John Roberts. XRP has been recognized in Fortune magazine's inaugural Fortune 100, which all focuses on the crypto side of things. It's a ranking of the most influential projects that shape on blockchain. And then here's the article right here. So if you pop over here, Jeff, you can see meet the 400 here. Here we go. And there it is. Let's see. Where is the whole
small print there?
Confident. Is this the press release? What is this? The presser? Where's the actual 100? Is this it right here? Womp, womp, womp. I clicked over to the Fortune 100. I don't know. Where is the actual? That's weird that, there we go. That other link
been hacked.
The other link didn't work, but here you go. Here are the projects right here. Let's see. So you got obviously Coinbase. I got Base up there, Binance, Kraken, Anchorage Digital, OKX. Got the big guys up front. This is CeFi, right? This is crypto first companies, exchanges, lenders, or custodians, right? You got the TradeFi, of course, Franklin Templeton, where they leverage the XRPL. JP Morgan Chase, they've got their own coin. Got the NASDAQ, Goldman Sachs, all the familiar players you're used to seeing, Standard Chartered, CME, Bank of New York, Citigroup. Then you got the fintechs, the Stripes, the Visas, the PayPals of the world. You also see, MasterCard's in there. eToro's in there, another exchange. The DeFi side, Hyperliquid, Aave, Lido, Uniswap, PancakeSwap. Man, I haven't heard that in a long time. Morpho. And your VCs, obviously, Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z up there. You got Paradigm, Dragonfly. These are all the names you see over and over. Pantera, Sequoia, the big guys that you see everywhere that are financing these crypto projects. Then you've got the stable coins.
Well, why is there no RLUSD there?
Didn't make it, Jeff. Tether's in there.
Where's USDC?
What's funny is World Liberty Financial's in there, and that's basically the Trump boys project. You got Gemini up in there, Societe Generale. So you got then crypto. You got MoonPay, Consensus, Alchemy, Ledger's in there for crypto services, DATs and ETFs. Of course, all the familiar players there.
Yes.
Fidelity, the BlackRock World, 21 shares. Mining. There's all the mining companies right there. It's all pretty much Bitcoin. Might be some other ones. And then you got the blockchain
protocols
and the protocol.
Ethereum.
There you go. And that's the one where you see XRP, you see Avalanche, Sui, Polygon.
XRP is number 6.
Yeah, of course, Bitcoin's 1. Of course, Ethereum's number 2. But then you got Solana. It's all ranked by popular. Then Chainlink is in there as well. I'm glad to see Sui in there. I think Sui is going to do big things. And then Zcash, Arbitrum, a lot of stuff in there. But it's cool that they're putting this list together. It's good for people.
No Shiba Inu.
I'm not surprised at all, Jeff. You're shocked about that whole thing. So, Jeff, it's been funny. It's been said so many times. This next clip is from Hugo Philion, and I am happy to say that Jeff and I can absolutely say that next Saturday,
Oh, this is
Hugo
exciting news.
Philion will be on the chain with us here at 8 a.m. He's coming on the chain. Very excited about it. Got confirmation yesterday that he will be here. It's going to be a great hour if you guys want to join to learn more about
Hugo
Flare.
from Flare. Flare.
Hugo
All
from
about
Flare.
Flare.
So we're going to dive into some cool stuff. We'll get into some other stuff, the fun stuff you normally do that you won't see anywhere else. We bring the human element into. We'll bring our edge. We'll bring some questions. We'll have a bit of fun with it, but also seriousness too. We've been big fans of the project since day one. But this is an interesting observation, Jeff,
True.
and one we probably we get it on what he's saying here. But what I think is funny about this is he's so spot on with this statement right here. Listen to this and tell me if this is not funny as hell.
Why was XRP the focus? I think two reasons. One is I've always been interested in XRP. I think their solution for payments has broadly been in the right direction. I think they got unlucky with the regulations, to be honest with you. I think what's hilarious is that most of, when XRP and Ripple kind of started out, they were accused of being, the banker coin. And yet now everyone in the entire industry is desperate to be the banker coin. It's pathetic, really. But, so I think they have a good solution. I think they've always been relatively true to that solution. And I think they have a very vocal community. We were always interested in X.
How funny is that?
There you
Jeff,
go.
that is so spot on. They were like, that's the banker's coin, the Bitcoin maxis. That's XRP is the banker's coin. Now everybody, including how excited was the Bitcoin maxis when XRP, the banks start talking. I mean, Bitcoin, the banks, like everybody now wants to be the banker's coin. They all want the banks to use their blockchain, right? So how spot on is that? Yeah, it used to be a bad word, right?
Now it's the objective. Well, as soon as they realize that banks aren't going anywhere and Bitcoin's not actually replacing banks and Bitcoin actually can't replace banks, that infrastructure won't make it, that you still need banks regardless of all the crypto in the world, that you still need an intermediary from a security perspective to connect all the retail with the B2B and everything else. So that's it. Now it's like, hey, how do we embrace this? And it goes back to the old adage that we always talk about, which came first? Do the crypto companies buy banks, or do the banks buy crypto companies? And we still haven't seen the end of that yet. There's lots of money in crypto.
Now. They're blending.
Right. They're blending, but we're going to start seeing big buyouts. I think they are blending. They're starting to use their technology, but eventually the banks are going to be all crypto. I mean, that's it. At least the back end, it's all blockchain. It has to be, the legacy banks.
They can fight all they want, but they're not going to lose. Look at this. Joe Buddy says, I didn't do it. My agent did it. Well, there's a big lawsuit, a public company, which I will not mention, but that's exactly what happened, Joe. The company's being sued. There's a class action lawsuit against it. And how it goes like this is that their hiring practices, the AI was filtering out if you were 40 or over, you never got seen by a recruiter. So they were filtering out anybody 40 years old or older got filtered out. And this was somebody to uncover this and discover that they tested it. And it turns out that it was spot on. So they went to the company. The company said, the official statement was, oh, we were using an AI platform. We had no idea. It was just AI. It wasn't us. So we didn't. And it said, sorry. The judge said, sorry, that you're responsible for everything that happens in your org. And if you don't know what your AI is doing, that's a bigger problem type of thing. So how funny is it that, I mean, you talk about age discrimination. I mean, 40 is not like 40 is like really that old. You want a 40-something-year-old in your organization that has good 15, 20 years of experience behind them. But no, 40 and over, you're out. It's like Logan's, that old movie in the 70s, Logan's Run. You turn 29, you're dead. You hit 30, we kill you. We can't have old people running around. It's like, it can't happen. It just cannot happen, Jeff.
Did you see this?
I did.
Ripple. No matter who won the congressional baseball game, we're on Team Clarity. Whether it's baseball or digital assets, the rules matter. Clear rules of the road support responsible innovation and U.S. leadership.
I don't know, Jeff. That didn't land on me really that well. Going out with one, it was cringy to me. I get it. It's a good
big
PR
finger.
stunt. It wasn't Ripple. It was a bunch of people there at the game that had these. I was just like, man, sometimes you try too hard. It just doesn't land,
They
right?
that was a
Like
little
stuff. We tell jokes here, Jeff. Sometimes they
much.
land, and sometimes it's like a fart in church. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. It doesn't go over that well. It either lands or it doesn't. But anyway, we're going to get into we're going to leave we got so much to talk about what's going on in the world. We're going to talk a little bit of what happened yesterday. But interestingly enough, Jeff, yesterday, you and I were celebrating the United States opener in LA. The United States men's team won their first World Cup game in spectacular fashion, 4-1 over Paraguay. And they did it in spectacular. Now, if you look back to the last championship that happened for South America, Paraguay beat Brazil handedly. Okay, they also beat some other great, South American teams. So this wasn't like, oh, it's some crappy team. I don't think they expected it to go the way it went. But the U.S. has never scored 4 goals and there's never been one player with 2 goals since like 1936. And again, funny enough, it was against Paraguay, but interesting, a good development. It was a fun game to watch. The goals were spectacular. I mean, corners, just beautiful beating people. It was just, right. And there was actually one goal taken back because of offsides. And the reason I'm talking about that and bringing that up, because something interesting, so that I hear from a lot of my European friends, how come the U.S. isn't good at football? We call soccer here, thanks to the British. The British coined that stupid term, not us. So why here's why. Let me explain it to you like in an easy way. There's called the National Football League, American football, okay? You can be a scrub. You can be a guy that never sees action and you're making $1 million a year, okay? Mm-hmm. If you're a good quarterback like a Josh Allen, you're making $58 million a year to go up and show up and play, okay? If you are in the NBA, you're making $10, $15, $20 million. If you're a scrub, you make over $1 million. You never see action. They might put you in because a guy got hurt, right? Let's go to the NHL. Same thing. Big contracts in the NHL. Baseball. These guys get paid a lot of money to play baseball. Now, that little tiny fragment hanging out on the bottom corner are the guys that have the passion, the guys that played it since they were 3 years old, the guys that play it for the love of the game, because you will see that NFL players played soccer in high school. They played it in college. They played it on college winning teams, but they didn't go professional because they would go for the money grab. You make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. The coach, and thank God the U.S. finally got a great coach. He's former Tottenham coach. He's a phenomenal coach. He started in 24. He's a solid coach. Now, here's what's interesting about this. This year, love hearing nuggets like this. The U.S. men's team coach, Mauricio Pochettino, and I always botch his name, was only hired because hedge fund billionaire Ken Griffin and others helped cover his salary worth millions of dollars. Why? Because they couldn't get a coach like this. The coaches they had were scrubs, and they sucked. And I've hated every U.S. men's coach maybe since the 90s. And just really bad. But here it is right here. They worked out a deal that would allow Pochettino to several $1 million annually. A deal was supported in significant part by philanthropic Ken Griffin, the founder and CEO of hedge fund. What's his hedge fund? I can't think what his hedge fund is right now. CME Group. Yeah. So, how amazing is this that you've got, and if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have, and I was funny because I was watching him on the sidelines. I always think he's looked like Russell Crowe's little brother. I'm like, is this Russell Crowe's like little brother? He has that sort of Russell Crowe facial structure. And I was watching it with a bunch of buddies, and they're like, is that true? I'm like, no, but just look at him. He looks a little like Russell Crowe, right? He's like,
Look at this question. Did the U.S. win last night?
Hell yeah, they did. 4-1, baby.
4-1, crushed them.
Spectacular. Go back and watch the highlight. God, it felt like they were toying with them at times, especially in the last 3 minutes of the game. They were just, and I'm like, the funny part about that was they could have probably, they put that last goal in, right? But they could have probably put 1 or 2 more goals in. They kind of just laid back a little bit. And then towards the second half, they kind of just, right after the hydration break, they sort of went into a preserve. But then that last goal, it ended on, I think they had 7 minutes of extra time. They ended it. It was just spectacular fashion. That last goal was a freaking awesome goal too.
It was great. It was great watching it, especially on the heels of the Vegas Carolina hockey game on Thursday night, following the Knicks win
Oh,
on
that Knicks game was insane, Jeff. I mean, coming back from 29 points, that was just unbelievable. I loved watching that game. Was phenomenal, man. Especially like that tip in. You had like less than 2 seconds left, and then they
yeah.
inbounded it
Amazing.
and got a hand on it. It's just incredible, spectacular fashion. I tell you what, it's something else. So wait a second,
Got
dude.
so bored it leaves the
Dude,
venue early.
That's another. There's reason number two that why you say, oh, how come nobody ain't gonna, because of this right there. That's why.
Yeah,
Because
that's
people
the
are like, it's
sentiment
boring.
of many people. Yeah.
First of all, to me, because I grew up playing it, I was a keeper. I loved it. I watch as much World Cup as I can. I watch the Premier League. I love watching it. I don't watch it as much as I did when I was younger because I'm really busy these days. But I have to tell you, and Jeff's a big fan too. Jeff's always at a pub watching, the Premier League and so I mean, I grew up playing the game. I love the game. To me, what's exciting about it is there's no stoppage, dude. It's just nonstop. Boom, 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 boom. The defense, like watching the strategy of a game unfold, watching the momentum change. To me, I think it's one of the most exciting games. I get bored watching baseball. I like hockey, but I can only take so much of it. I do like it. There's too many games I can't watch. Same with baseball. I watch a lot of baseball games because I with my buddies.
Many times. Yeah.
NBA's become a really bad sport. I used to be a diehard NBA guy. I can't watch it anymore. It's gotten so bad, the level of play, but I love NFL. I love American football. I love it. I freaking love it. And yeah, it is a lot of fun to play too. And if you're really into it, you watch it, and people might say it's boring. I like the fact there's no stoppage time. Every other sport, a commercial, this or that.
Best part, yeah. Soccer, it's just boom.
45 minutes, baby. Just give it to me. And then the extra time. So anytime they stop, blow a whistle. I don't know. They randomly, just arbitrarily. Usually it's 3 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like 8 minutes. Like, where did 8 minutes come from?
But I have to tell you, Jeff, this thing annoys with international soccer when usually they'll blow an offside as soon as it happens. When you're mid pitch and you have an offsides, but you let the play go until they score a goal, and then you're like, oh, sorry, you were offsides mid pitch. It's like, what are you talking about? How is that possible? That pisses me off every time. Like, you would just boom, raise the flag, but no, they let it play on, which is weird. Just blow the whistle. It's offsides. Call it when it happens. And I saw a lot of stuff last night. I know that they have this electronic stuff now, but I saw a lot of offsides. Even the U.S. men's team was offsides. And you're like, please don't put that in the back of the net because that was an offsides that was missed. It's, and then they, my buddies who aren't really that big into football and they're soccer, I'd say, they go like, hey, why isn't he put? I go, dude, they'll be offsides. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, why isn't he advancing? Why? He'll be offsides. And then one of the guys there was a FIFA ref, and he's like,
not obvious. That's the problem.
It's not obvious. That's true. But if you really like watch the game, and that was funny because one of the guys was there. He used to be a FIFA ref, and he's like, oh my God, because he was telling us like rules and you can do this, you can do that. Yeah. And the other guys were looking at him like, and he's like, yeah, I used to be a FIFA ref. He's like, oh, okay. Now we got an expert in the house. But before he said that, he was just the guy just commenting on the game,
hanging out.
It's like, oh,
pretty funny, yeah.
Mr. Know-it-all, Mr. Smarty Pants over here, I
think there was some partnerships with Algorand. I think it was Man U was using Algorand to release NFTs if you had their app, which was interesting.
Now, you want to talk about interesting? So yesterday you had the SpaceX IPO. Okay,
so I think people think
right, yeah. And here's the thing, Jeff. The entire left. This is why the Democrats are mentally ill. They don't want the government's supposed to tell you if you can be successful. You can't be successful on your own. You can't have less regulation to be able to be massively successful. Without fail, everywhere on the internet yesterday, every Democrat was melting down. And especially you're hearing, a Trump ally cannot do well. How can a Trump ally do so well? Well, here is the fake Indian who pretended to be an Indian her whole life to gain status and get a $400,000 job teaching at Harvard. Here is the fake Indian, Pocahontas herself, Elizabeth Warren, melting down because how can Elon Musk and the people are saying, like, how can you make so much money? How That you can't spend all that money. And they don't even realize that this is stock. You can't, it's not liquid money.
Right.
You're gonna just- Elon Musk doesn't say, I'm selling everything tomorrow and get my $1 trillion and then I'm going to put it in the bank. That's not how it works. Like they've never built anything, Jeff. They've never done anything with their lives. We're going to play the hypocrisy here because we like the. Yeah, she always shows up. She's the dumbest human on the planet. It's hard to tell anymore. There's so many mentally.
There's a lot of dumb people in Washington.
I mean, her and AOC. I mean, they have AOC as like a top candidate. You got Gavin Newsom. His whole state is burning down. He's like, everything's great. You know, it's like we're fine. Everything with the little dog with everything burning in the background. Here's the fake Indian. Listen to her
PE valuation. They opened at 150. They said they were open at 135. It opened at 150, shot up to 170, closed at 160. After hours, went back up to 170. I have no idea what the PE valuation was. I don't think anybody that bought actually cared about the PE.
No, I don't think so.
Well, people are like SpaceX.
I think it's another NVIDIA stock. I think it's gonna it's gonna be big. I think it'll go 300, 400, 500 overnight. No, but depending. I mean, SpaceX is not even in the business of data centers, and then you've got a $980 million deal a month they cut with Google. They cut $1 billion deal a month with Anthropic for storage. So you got $2 billion coming in a month. $24 billion, $24 billion. And that's not even what they do. $24 billion right there coming in the coffers because
Elon Musk is officially the world's first trillionaire. Think about that.
Should be celebrated. Right. Think about it. That should be celebrated. Oh my gosh. A man finally became a trillionaire. Oh no, not fake Indian Pocahontas.
We're living at a time when more and more people are just hanging on by their fingernails to survive in this economy. And Elon Musk.
The Democrats did so much to advance businesses and help businesses, and they crushed small businesses and made them shut down during the pandemic, right? This fake Indian mental patient
has more money and more wealth than anyone in human history.
That should be celebrated. Fantastic. Here's a bitch that made $400,000 a year pretending she was Indian. Does she look Indian? My God, she's whiter than any white person I've ever seen in my life. You could take a dart into a crowd and hit somebody, and they have more Indian and American Indian than this woman does. And she should have been shouted out of Congress because she appropriated someone else's culture and race. And she said because her mama and her papa said she had high cheekbones. Oh, that was why you were Indian.
I want to be clear. This is not just some fluke. It is a feature of a rigged economy. Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill cut healthcare for millions of Americans to give guys like Elon bigger tax breaks. The tax code rewards CEOs for firing workers and replacing them with AI. Loopholes have allowed Jeff Bezos to pay an
It's hard enough to listen to her voice, but to look at her at the same time, Jeff, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Liz Warren needs to go back to ducking down beers on a TV show to tell us how much a working person she is. Yeah. She never built anything. She never built anything. She's worth, they say, close to $60-80 million. She never volunteers her own money. She wants to raise taxes on everyone else, but she never checks that box on the first page of your tax return that says, how much extra money would you like to give the government? She gives zero extra money. She wants everybody else to be penalized. She's got more money than most Americans have, and she's worried because Elon Musk has more.
Effective tax rate lower than
the way everything she's saying here is false. There was no health care. It was the people laying off because of AI. That's not 100% true. They're laying off because they overhired in the pandemic. They needed people to cover, and they don't need those people anymore because of efficiency. So because AI is taking jobs, they're against that. This is the anti-everything Democrats.
A Boston public school teacher. And we are left with a country where a handful of billionaires at the top pop champagne in their 300.
We're left with a country where the opportunity has never been more vast in the entire history of the world. And it's not locked down under this witch's brew over here.
But I like how she talks about the $300 million yachts, yet she wants to, mingle with all the Hollywood elite. And the Hollywood elite, that's all they do. That's all they do. They're just out there partying on their big yachts with their, $1,000 champagne bottles or, whatever, but she doesn't have anything to say about them. And they also, what do they actually do other than cause problems nowadays?
Yeah, exactly. She's like, you know, it's hard to get through this. We're only a little bit more. Let's go.
$1 million yachts, while working people take on even more shifts to try to pay off their student loan debt.
They
The
shouldn't
top
take those
1% of U.S. earners now have more wealth than the entire middle class. We need to overhaul our tax code. We need a wealth tax. And it's about
A wealth
time
tax.
that corporations
These people are
paid
so
their
dumb.
fair share.
The
Think about
corporations
that.
are paying
We're
a shit
living
ton of money.
So here we go with the
They're
fair
paying
share
so much
shit again,
money.
Jeff.
Right.
Today's
It's such a
marker
communist
should be
narrative.
a wake-up
It
call
is a communist
that
narrative.
enough is enough. Time to make change.
It
This
is
is
time to make
so
a change. Time
time to get rid of
vote
these
you
people.
bastards out of office because you
Yeah.
are mental. You're mentally ill. There's never been more opportunity for people in the world. Thank God to AI. I mean, AI has transformed my business, Jeff. AI is transforming your business. It's making accessible everything accessible. You know what's always funny? It's like there was a day when I was growing up, the guy lived around the corner from us. I had the chance to go work for him when I was a kid. He took me in, gave me a job, was a mentor to me. And I looked up to this guy because he was massively successful. Everything he touched turned to gold. He got into real estate. Well, guess what? He needed someone to go paint all his houses he bought. I put together a crew and I became his painting crew in the summertime. He needed people to go, he ran a car dealership. He needed people to go buy 8 cars instead of hiring a car thing. He sent me, I hired 8 of my friends. We got in my car. We went over and we picked up the cars wherever they needed to be. Like, this is who the guy was. Now, these kind of guys that are celebrated want to be taken down, the envy, the stuff. That's a very bad place for you to live, and envy. And if you're not looking, I look up to a guy like Elon Musk. I don't care if you like his politics or not. He saved the freaking free world by buying X. That wasn't something he needed to do. It was he's losing money still. He had to do it because there's ideas that are being expressed. So much stuff.
$40 billion.
X has never become more 44 billion. It was never become more exciting than a time. So what they're really mad about is the fact that their influence is weaning. What they're really mad about is, like in Peru, when you get a woman who wins the election and she's touted as the daughter of a dictator, right? This kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that the narratives that play out, and she's hardcore conservative. You saw what just happened in Chile. You saw what happened in Argentina. You see the move that's happening to conservatism all over the world. You got France is going down, the UK's down, Germany's going down. Like, they're getting all new leadership. The rise of the AFD party, the Reform Party in the UK. It's their ideas don't work and aren't gaining anything, and they're being slapped like little bitches that they are. Jeff,
And they have to be. They have to be slapped. These people are so off the rails
Insane.
that they don't speak for everyday people. They speak for their little circle of crazy people that seem to have the microphone and the cameras right now, but not for long. These lefty, loon, pink hair, purple hair, nut job people that are supported by and support people like an Elizabeth Warren, their time is really limited. They might have California, they might have New York City, but you know what? The people there are going to suffer. I can't wait. It's the worst thing to say, but the brain drain and the money drain right now out of New York City and out of California is the greatest thing ever. You know why? Because West Palm Beach is growing at a pace like no one's ever seen before. It upsets the people there locally. It upsets the people in Miami and the people in Fort Lauderdale to see the amount of growth because it's changing the dynamics. But at the same time, Palm Beach is now the Wall Street of the South. Miami has all the big tech companies and financial institutions, as does Palm Beach. That's the problem. These people like Elizabeth Warren and the rest of them, they're going to keep talking. They're going to keep spewing their nonsense. And guess who's the benefactor? Everybody in the South. Why? Because New York, it has the potential. Not saying it will exactly become, but if you went to New York in the 70s or in the 80s, wasn't such a safe place, right? It took time for it to turn around. Now imagine you take all the money and all the companies and all the big, the billionaires, and you send them south. Now New York has nothing to fall back on. And that's what you guys voted for up there. And so now imagine New York becomes Detroit. Detroit after the riots. And we said this last time, Coleman Young told people, you don't like it, get the fuck out. And you know what they did? They left. They took their businesses. They took their money. They took their families and they left their homes, and they didn't care. They left them. They didn't sell them. They just left them, and they moved, and they became vacant properties. And that's why there's hundreds, if not thousands, of vacant homes in Detroit, still burned down, half whatever vacated. But Detroit years, 60 years to start coming back. 60. It wasn't if it wasn't for the Quicken Loans guy, whatever his name is, I forget his name. But if it wasn't for him driving the frenzy to start building in Detroit again, Detroit wouldn't have come back. Now imagine you do LA and you do New York City, and you have the brain drain, the finance drain, and all of this. These guys are
Dan Gilbert.
They're gonna suffer. Dan Gilbert.
Yeah.
These guys are gonna suffer like they've never experienced before. Not saying it's 100% secure, because I think people want to fight for New York City. They don't want to just let it fall into ruins and go back to a 70s, 80s, but it has the potential because the money's leaving and the people are leaving. And again, the South, but the Elizabeth Warrens and all these people, they could give a shit about their people. They're subservient to the banks or whomever they're answering to, and they don't care. All they care about is power. They want to keep living, as long as they possibly can. So it's such an amazing time to be witnessing this changeover. Even, here, local politics. Was at a meeting, finally got people going into city council, and we have people running against everybody at the city council level. And it's amazing. All young people, and they're all pissed. They're like, we're millennials, we're sick of it. We're making a change, So all these people are like, late 20s, 30s, and that's it. And they're like, these people have been there too long, running. There's, one Republican there got somebody to run against her.
Beautiful, right?
It's amazing across the board. Get rid of all of them. And these people have been there for decades, at city council levels. So you got to start at the grassroots. You got to go city council. You got to go state. You got to go federal. You got to take it all out one by one, and then you get rid of the Pocahontases and you get rid of the AOCs, because you change it at the grassroots. You change the school boards, you change the city councils, then you change the state representatives, make their lives, miserable because they don't represent the people. And then you go federal. Boom, done. And then we change it. Yep.
Well
there
said.
you go.
So, I
don't know, to go to New York, but I wouldn't under Mamdani. Yeah.
I love this. Justine Bateman. I don't know. She back in the 80s, she played Mallory Keaton on Family Ties. And I think she's a lefty. I can tell you she's a lefty because I follow her, and sometimes she hates AI too. She hates AI for production and film and stuff. She says, commenting on Elizabeth Warren video, she said, I feel like she missed the part where all the employees had a piece of the success. Yeah, I feel like that too. And then also on top of that, check out this story, Jeff. You have a welder. He took a $28 an hour job in 2015. It was a company never heard of. On Friday, Juan Hernandez became a millionaire. He spent 10 years building the structures that lifted rockets into the launch pad. SpaceX paid him partly in stock, the way it pays its cooks, machinists, technicians, and cafeteria staff, equity instead of bigger salaries. His $10,000 grant grew into $880,000 at the IPO price. The first day Pop came past $1 million. He is 42, an immigrant from Mexico, married, 3 kids, says he's keeping the job. He's not the outlier. This is the pattern. 4,400 current and former SpaceX employees became millionaires on Friday. 1 in 5 people who ever badged into the company, about 400 of them are walking away with 100 million or more. One employee took every cash bonus in stock instead of money. He's sitting on 50,000 shares, which is worth more than $8 million at Friday's prices. And then there's the other side of the cafeteria. Some employees sold their shares years ago. Certain the company would never go public because Musk said he hated public markets. A few traded their stock for restaurant gift cards. The New York Times says they're consumed by regret. Of course they are. Some grant, same building, same years. One group held the claim, the other ones ate it. None of the other winners touched the money yet. The first selling window opens after August earnings report, and the rest unlocks and waves through December.
Yep.
Underneath it sits the only lesson the market ever teaches. The welder and the gift card came from the same place. The difference was never the work. It was the ownership. Salary pays for the month. Equity pays for the era. A cook in the Brownsville just answered the question every buyer of SpaceX is asking at $170. What is a claim for this company actually worth? The piece prices that exact question at 2.2 trillion. You're looking at a millionaire who held on to his stock. And by the time, if it goes to 400, yeah, 4,400, exactly, 100%. Not one, but Elizabeth Warren doesn't care about those people, right? Nobody cares about that. I'll be 62 in 2 weeks, Jeff.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? 62. No retirement for me, more building. No retirement. Jeff, some days I sit like for 2 weeks doing nothing. I go crazy. I don't ever want to be retired. I just want to have freedom to go wherever I want. But I love building. I love the interaction. I don't ever want to retire because I retire, brain dies, check out early. Not happening. My dad used to. I grew up with the story my dad told me. He says there's this guy. He was so well liked in the company. He worked really hard. He retired at 65. They had this giant retirement party. Everybody was crying at it. They were so happy he retired finally, and that guy died the next day. Ain't happening for me. No.
Look at the bright side, Chip.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, well, that's the bright side of things. But the downside of things is the runway's getting shorter. But that's okay. That's okay. I just we're gonna bear it. Jeff's a lot younger than me. I won't say by how much. When I want the doc's your age, Jeff, I'm happy to share it here. I don't care who knows. I mean, it's not a
I forget how old I am. I'm not that much younger.
You're a lot. I would give my left, to be that, to be your age, Jeff.
Yep.
You don't want to dox yourself?
I don't care.
Go ahead. Go ahead and say your age.
How old I am.
You just got to think about it.
I turned 55 this year.
Dude, that's nothing, man. 55. Yeah. I'm 7 years old. That's a big difference. My brother's even my brother's 59. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But that's why we drop these old references, because we're old people. I always remember when I'm around younger people, don't drop anything older than 15 years. Don't drop it. You can't drop an old Seinfeld quote because they'll look at you like, okay, boomer. They'll be like, okay, old man. They'll give you that weird sort of look, right?
Well, how about the new commercial? There's a commercial with MC Hammer, and I was wondering how many people actually knew MC Hammer.
Yeah, I don't think. I think. See, those commercials are for boomers. They're not for the younger folk. Ari Fletcher said this, Jeff. He said, "Never
for Gen X.
Never forget the Democrat Party does not want the welders, the cafeteria staff, and regular workers to become rich. They want them on welfare. They want their vote, not their success."
Exactly right. That was a good statement.
Nothing has ever been what they want. Jeff, what do you think Bernie Sanders said about this whole thing? Listen, go ahead and read that, Jeff.
What? We got to read Sanders?
Yeah, please.
Elon Musk's rise to trillionaire status is not a time to celebrate. Oh, there you go. That's all you got to know. What a douchebag.
All you need to know.
This guy is they're all such douchebags. It's a call to action to take on the unprecedented income and wealth inequality that now exists, and the greed and power of our so here's Elon Musk bought X $44 billion, or bought Twitter, saved the freedom of speech, built SpaceX, is pushing our country and the space race into a different hemisphere, right? NASA couldn't accomplish what he's accomplishing. So he's doing it. He built private building and his just everything that he's putting into it, and he's creating an entrepreneurial competitive scenario for the space race, because then you have Amazon and you've got all of these different companies, Blue Origin, they're all stacking up to compete. And so now think about this comment that he's like, oh, the greed and power coming from the most greedy bastard that there is, which is these politicians who are milking the American public of every last dime. Because here's an individual that's never worked an honest day in his life, never built a company, never did anything in the public, in the private sector, never had a job, and he has the audacity to actually talk about power and greed. Power and greed is directly what he does, because he is a lifelong career politician that's 100% power and greed, because he's become wealthy off of the backs of the people. He has contributed zero to society. So you can't respect these people. You can't take what their words, and yet there's people that follow these clowns. That's the most mind-boggling. There's people out there that will follow and they'll latch onto every word that these clowns have, but they're clowns in nature. I mean, they have a whole, the Vidiot crowd, or I don't even know what we can call them now, but they're just mindless drones that want to follow these types of people. Anyone who supports an AOC or an Elizabeth Warren or a Bernie Sanders, these guys, how do you follow clowns? These guys have contributed, all of them, every single one of them have contributed zero to society.
Well, read the rest of
Elizabeth
it,
Warren, it kills me to even try to read through this stuff. Our democracy cannot survive when one man who contributed 290 million to get Trump elected becomes 700 billion richer since his election. Why does that have? Why is that even relevant? That our democracy, our capitalistic society can definitely survive. It's proof that it can survive. Our economy cannot sustain itself when one man owns more wealth than the bottom half of our society. Now, the one man with all that wealth is going to be able to boost up the bottom half by giving them jobs and making them wealthy. So when 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck, when we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major nation, and when our kids will have a lower standard of living than their parents, that's because of the Democrats, by the way. This is not just about wealth, it's about power. Musk and his fellow oligarchs want it all. Okay, he's the one who keeps building. He's not asking for handouts and freebies. Together we must fight back. We can and must create an economy and a government that works for us all, not just Elon Musk and his fellow billionaires. What a stupid statement. So here again, the one man who's saving our freedoms in this country, that's put everything on the line, spent $44 billion knowing that he was going to lose money, that he wasn't going to make a profit. When they told him that he was going to lose all of his advertisers, he said they can go fuck themselves. He couldn't care less. It was all about saving the freedom of speech. And now here he is again, putting it all on the line, put everything on the line for SpaceX. And you saw that there was possibilities that he was going to lose everything between Tesla and SpaceX, and the amount of money that he had to pour into it to get it to where it's at. And then they're the ones launching payloads up to the space station. I don't see NASA launching payloads. Why? Because they couldn't do it, because they didn't have the technology to do it. They weren't bringing in the bright people. I'm not saying they're not bright, but you have Elon Musk. That's these guys are just, they're on a different level. And now you want to punish them. Everybody suffers in that case. It's amazing.
He likes to throw the word. Bernie loves to throw the word around oligarch. Here's Adam Carolla kind of running through that. Watch this.
Country of ours is moving very rapidly in the direction of oligarchy.
This is from 1993. Then you got a 94 clip, then a 95 clip, then a 2007 clip, a 2012, a 2014, up to present day. This is Bernie, the do nothing, have nothing, socialist moron.
The United States of America today
94.
is increasingly becoming an oligarchy. More 95. And more moving toward an oligarchy. We are moving in the direction of oligarchy. We will move even more rapidly in the direction of an oligarchy.
Hold on. The only thing that's moving is his hairline. Everything else has remained the same. What you can learn from this is the oligarchy doesn't move, but Bernie gets balder as he complains more about the oligarchy. I don't know if there's a connection between balding and complaining about the oligarchy. Then now in 2012, he's fired up about the oligarchy.
Of an oligarchy. This great country
14
is evolving into an oligarchic society.
At least he changed it there.
15.
It is called oligarchy, and that is the system we are rapidly moving toward. This is a budget that moves
17.
our country rapidly into the direction of oligarchy. A handful.
I know what year this is.
2018 or 19. I can't
this entire planet toward an oligarchic society.
Start off with the bad news, which is pretty bad. And that is that under Donald Trump, this country is hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy.
I don't know.
It's great.
Is someone going to lean over when he's in his on his deathbed and just go, Bernie, all the you talked about, you didn't get anything done. You got nothing done. You never employed anybody. You never built anything. All you did was complain the entire time. And for some reason, you became a folk hero by just complaining about something and never fixing it.
Wouldn't it be great if on the day that he passes, 3 minutes before that thing flatlines, we announced that we are now an oligarchic society? Like, he can finally just rest easy.
No, I think if I was his nurse and he was minutes from dying, I would go, good news, we fixed the oligarchy. And he'd go, what? And I'd go, just kidding. See you in hell. Enjoy.
Just kidding. See you in hell. Look at this. Look at MS Now. What do you think MS Now's take is on this, Jeff? What do you think take a wild guess what they're going to call Elon Musk? Because it always devolves into racism of some kind, right? No one even understands what racism is anymore. Everything's racist. I got some stats that are coming up, and they're probably racist also.
Money makes Elon Musk completely unaccountable. And it's so striking that I think in the past, if you had a businessman like Musk who was such an out-and-out white supremacist, who was probably the most...
That's it, Jeff. He's a white supremacist.
What just happened?
He's
what in the world are we watching? These people are out of their minds. He's an
African American, Jeff. Jeez, I can't believe that she just said that.
Significant sort of white nationalist propagandist in the world at this point who... in the past, there would have been some, I think, maybe hesitation. Yeah. But he has so much money that there's not even a sort of pretense that there could be any sort of restraint or accountability.
People are insane. And then Scott Jennings has to put up with the wackadoodles on CNN. The rabbit at the mouth, dumber than dumb, don't know anything about history, don't know anything about the Constitution. So Jennings has to sit through this dribble. Listen to this.
Checks and balances in this society. People should not be allowed to have $1 trillion.
People should not be allowed. You see, the government will stop you if the Democrats are. This is what the left is, not just the Democrats. It's the left worldwide. The left knows better than you. The left doesn't like crypto because it's decentralized. They want everything centralized. They want to be able to tell you what to do, Jeff. The left wants to tell you and control you. Look, we know better. We're smarter than you. I know that socialism and I know that communism's never worked anymore, but it's never been tried by us. We're going to show you that it fails and fails and fails again.
So do
you think that these ultra wealthy people, I'm not talking about people with 10, 15, 20, even $100 million. I'm talking about people who are approaching $1 trillion. Do you think that there's more that they should be doing to give back to the societies that helped them get rich? Elon Musk and SpaceX benefited from tens of millions of dollars in government contracts and deals that allowed them to become the company that they are today. Should they be doing, Bakari, can I?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Scott, do you think that they should be doing more?
I think it's up to them. I think that many of them, and Arthur mentioned one, they do a lot. But it's not for me or you or any of us here to tell someone else what to do with what they earned.
Governments do that every single day. It's called taxes.
Yeah, I know. And the rich people in this country pay the vast majority of taxes. And I hear people today saying, oh, it's time that we tax the rich. Folks, I got news for you. We already tax the rich. They pay the vast majority of tax. And I think Elon Musk is the single largest taxpayer in America, and he'll be even bigger now. But is it for us to sit around and say there's a limit on what you can build, there's a limit on what you can earn, and it's now my job to tell you what to do with your money? Hell no.
But Scott, let me...
That's it. I like it. Hell no.
It's nothing different than what we say here, Jeff. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. Okay, so Jeff, here's another narrative.
Elon Tron said, if Oprah was the first to $1 trillion, would she be saying the same thing? No, she would not.
No. Look at this guy right here. Tetsu says, history's first trillionaire is a guy who catches rockets out of the sky with chopsticks and beams internet to every dead zone on the planet. The same guy ships cars that drive themselves, humanoid robots for the factory floor, brain chips that leave paralyzed people move a cursor with pure thought, and AI running a supercomputer his team stood up in months instead of years. And the people crashing out about this net worth are doing in the app that he owns on X, the same app the government spent years trying to censor. You can't legislate a rocket into orbit. Of course, he's commenting on goofy ass Bernie Sanders. I mean, what a goofball, man. These people, they're just insane, Jeff. I don't even know any other way to say it. there's some kind of mental illness, and I don't know if they're on big pharma drugs. I kind of don't know what it is, but there's something that's not right with this elite. You've heard of Lux Max, right? Look at this. This is Elon Musk trillionaire maxing. Watch this, Jeff.
Oh my
But
God.
that is people listening. It's like
it's crazy.
Like,
crazy
yeah,
speed.
there's like 16 clips here. People just complaining, the Democrats complaining, and Elon Musk dancing in front of them, right? So he's billionaire maxing right there. We've gotten to a point of where it's become so just, gosh, it's been so incredibly taxing. I don't even know what to say. Like, these people are exhausted. And once they fix the elections, they're not going to be winning any elections anymore. They'll be like, oh, it's all Trump. Trump fixed the elections. When Trump fixes the elections, there's no more illegals voting for him anymore. Guess what, Jeff? It's going to be a much better society because we don't have to deal with these income. Here's Bridget Gabriel with a very astute, another great on point observation here. Here we go. She says, Newsom, Sanders, Warren, 3 politicians, 0 companies built, combined wealth funded by lobbyists and donor cash. Elon Musk dominated in payments, cars, energy, space, social media, communications, AI. He didn't just succeed, he made America stronger. Now you got Newsom says, Americans are struggling to pay for groceries and gas while Elon Musk becomes a trillionaire. Yeah, it's why are so many people exiting California? The taxes, Jeff. When does the federal government? Yeah, he says the system's rigged. Yeah, it was rigged by you morons. Trump's trying to fix the damn system. You guys,
they've done everything they can to corrupt the politics of California to keep those that are elected. We've obviously seen with Spencer Pratt exactly what they've been up to, exactly what they're going to do, and what they continue to do. And their taxes are amongst the highest. Their gas prices are amongst the highest in the country because they overtax it. Imagine what the budget is in California versus, and you look at like the budget, let's say for New York City and Florida, and all of Florida, just New York City, all of Florida, and it's amazing what we are able to accomplish in the state of Florida, what they can't even accomplish in one city, and it's because they mismanage their funds. They want to do all these subsidies and all these handouts and receive nothing in return. No
Jeff,
production, no productivity, no building, no nothing.
Who subsidized Tesla? The Democrats, because they thought, oh, this is the electric car. Well, watch this, Jeff. This IPO hurt California more than anything else. This guy, John LaFarge, says the single tweet that cost California hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes, revenue, and jobs. This is Lorena Fletcher. She was in the state assembly. She said, fuck Elon Musk. And Elon Musk wrote, message received. And what did he do in 24? He left California and relocated SpaceX to Texas, and they lost hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes, revenue, jobs. Why? Because they're stupid. It's an AOC thing. Amazon was going to move to in her district, was going to make 64,000 new jobs. She started complaining they're getting tax cuts. They're getting tax cuts. We can't have tax cuts. You can't come in here. You can't bully your way. So you know what the very ultra liberal Jeff Bezos did? Said F you, and he moved to a different state that opened their arms and said, please, we'll give you a hug. We'll give you tax incentives. So guess what New York missed out on? These are the dumbest humans that have a bad, horribly destroyed ideology. And you know what? There's no reasoning with them. It used to be reach across the aisle. There's no aisle to reach across. They must be destroyed. This is not a winning mindset. And because the country was doing so great under Biden with 9.4% inflation, right? When but Trump is evil and Trump is this, and it's just gotten to the point, Jeff, where it's gotten so out of control. I don't even know where you even start anymore. And you know what it all comes down to, Jeff? It comes down to this. Look at this. New study shows that conservatives are happier than liberals. Mental illness is emerging as its own political identity and most heavily aligned with leftist political ideology and causes. There it is. Beliefs matter. The new study shows widening mental health gap between conservatives and liberals. There's a lot of truth behind that. And it's funny, Jeff, the conservatives are happy. They're with their families. They're making things happen. And you got the liberals that are constantly bitching. The Democrats for 50 years, Jeff, have been bitching about how horrible life is. Nothing's ever done. Nothing's ever changed. Why are things so bad? Boo-hoo-hoo. They're always the straw man argument. Obama was the king of the straw man. We're going to change everything that's happening. Well, he never changed anything. All he did was make things worse. And he was always, I was like, dude, you're complaining about this shit? You're the president. You own Congress. For 2 years, they had all of Congress. They did nothing. It's funny. Here's another jackass. This is funny because this is the Oil and Gas Association. Hello, Senator. Let's read this is Ed Markey. This is who John Deaton is running against in Massachusetts. Ed Markey has been a senator for more than 50 years. Nobody even knows his name because he's done nothing. Elon Musk just became the world's first trillionaire while working people struggle to get by. The billionaire class is becoming the trillionaire class. It's disgusting. I'm fighting to tax the rich so we stop rewarding trading stocks over punching clocks. And then the Oil and Gas Association said, hello, Senator. This November will be 50 years since you were first elected to Congress. So we want to be the first to say happy 50th anniversary of drawing a taxpayer-funded salary. What an achievement. In fact, you're the second longest still serving member of Congress. It's been a long time since you've held a private sector job. And yes, 50 years ago in 1976, it was America's bicentennial that year. People still punch clocks back then. The world has changed a lot. Nobody punches clocks anymore. During the 50 years in Congress, you watched as the creators of inventors and producers changed the world, creating trillions of wealth, millions of new jobs, dramatically raising living standards for everybody, rich and poor alike. And for 50 years, you voted to raise taxes and regulate and oversee every move out of the private sector. You've never created or invented or produced, just taxed, regulated, and outraised. But thank you for the platform. The Trillionaire class has provided you and the entire world for free to tell us all how to be disgusted you are. We would never know otherwise. They got these, and the funny thing about Warren, she'll put something out. She had like 10,000 comments. I was going through them and then scrolling. There's never one that supports her. She doesn't. Right. I mean, like I don't even know if I'd post anymore because there's nobody that even agrees with her. It was everybody just basically roasting her outright. And let's get into some. You want to see some racist stats here, Jeff? Let's show some racist stats here. Here, this is Denmark publishes crime by country of origin, not nationality. So I looked at the 2021 to 2025 data. Overall, Somali origin, almost 8 times the Danish rate. American origin, 0.34. Thread of the top 5, the bottom 5. Here we go. Starting off with violence in Denmark. When they say something's rotten in Denmark, this is what they're talking about. Somali origin, 9.2 times the Danish rate for violence. German, 0.3. This is origin, right? So over the years, you got Lebanon equals Palestinians versus Lebanon mostly. And there you look at the USA, there's Germany, Hungary, China, Syria, 4 times, Iraq, 4 times, Morocco, 4 times, Lebanon, 7 times, and Somalia, 9 times. Then we've got the grievous assaults in Denmark. Somali origin, 19 times the Danish rate. Lebanese, 12 times. Moroccan, 7.5. The American origin, 0.18. Imagine being 100 times more violent than Americans, right? Because we have guns, Jeff. That's the problem. How about the homicide included attempted in Denmark? Somali origin, 37 times the Danish rate. Lebanese, 14 times. Iranian. What is this telling you, Jeff? What is this telling you? How about the rape convictions in Denmark? Syrian origin, 11.5 times the Danish rate. Somali, 10 times the Danish rate. Robbery convictions in Denmark, top 5 and bottom 5. Somali origin, 28 times the Danish rate. You've got, how about the Somali origin? These are threats. Chinese origin, 0 convictions in 5 years. Then you've got forgery in Denmark. Somali origin, 13 times. Lebanese, 12 times. Syrian, 9 times. Spanish and Chinese, 0. How about drugs? Somali origin, 12 times. How about Chinese origin? 0.12. Statistics, Denmark, per 100,000 residents, 15 to 79 immigrants and descendants. But I'm sure, Jeff. I mean, it's amazing that Denmark even published these. They probably didn't promote them, but every country can do this. Every country in Europe can do this. They'll find the same thing or greater. But Jeff, don't worry, you're being racist. No, that's not. You can't import the third world because you will become the third world. One of Donald Trump's favorite, one of his more on point quotes. Then let's, I don't know if you saw this, but Jerry Seinfeld, from the, comedian, he did Seinfeld back in the 90s. He did. Have you seen this, Jeff, or heard about this dust up yet?
No.
So he was asked the question, and of course, here it goes.
Jerry Seinfeld. What up, Seinfeld? What up? Can we get a free Palestine? Can we get a free Palestine? Come on, give us one free Palestine.
It doesn't exist.
It was Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David. Yep, I should have asked Larry David.
So he's right. It's never existed. There's never been a Palestine. He's like, it doesn't exist. I'm like, and now he's getting crucified. Oh my God, the left is coming after him. He used to be the darling. Now they're coming after him. But of course, Ilhan Omar had to comment on this, Jeff. Of course, right?
Of course.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hey, Jerry Seinfeld has said again last night, Palestine doesn't exist. Do you think that's dangerous rhetoric for someone with such a big platform?
I mean, Jerry Seinfeld has been really horrific human being and an example when it comes to talking about the reality of the genocide that Israel has carried out. And I think when people prioritize their own people in the interest of harming others, it's very dangerous. And I don't even think of him as like just...
Well, let's apply that to the dangerous crimes that are being created by a certain group of people that she sort of like is in the tribe of, right? So that statement perfectly applies. There she is with her headscarf on. You're in America, but your headscarf. Go back to your country of origin where your family basically destroyed the entire country. Your father did. But no. Find refuge in the U.S. Sure. I mean, this goes on. It's more of the same rhetoric, Jeff, but it just never ends. They're always outraged. Something has to be done. They get in power and they destroy. Everything's worse than when before they took over because they want to regulate. They want to destroy businesses. They want to tax the rich. And the rich already paid more than 60% of the taxes. I think it's more like 70%. The top, the top 5% pay the majority of the taxes, but it's not enough because they're not paying their fair share. Weirdly, Elizabeth Warren, she's like worth $60 or $80 million. She never pays her fair share. Everybody talks about that. How about Ilhan Omar? Wasn't she the one, Jeff, that had $30 million? That would she make $30 million in a fake winery? Was that her or was that somebody else, one of the other squad members?
No, that was Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, so she
her fake winery, and she was worth $30 million. How did that work?
That was an error. She said that was a mistake.
Yeah,
Jeff, I'm gonna play a clip, guys. I'm gonna open this question to you guys because I want you guys to name the country. Okay, we're gonna play name the country.
Omar Warren, AOC peak.
Yeah, we've definitely seen enough.
We've seen enough of their nonsense.
I want you to name the country. Ready, guys? I'm gonna play this clip and please name the country and the place that this is from. Here we go.
Same thing every council meeting. I can and I can make the decision. You can do it. Yeah, I'm making. I don't know. No. I don't know. This is the way the fact is.
The question here is who brought this resolution? The original one.
Very good. Original Satnam brought it. Satnam brought it. No. You can back them. Mr. Mayor, my question is this.
The guy is here. He's not outside.
No. He is keeping.
But he comes back. He's speaking right now. I am speaking. Excuse me. I have done enough of your behavior. Your behavior is very bad. Okay, very bad. Because you are very disrespectful man.
Speak for 30
No, excuse me, you cannot.
Sir, it's not allowed to speak.
I'm speaking.
It's not allowed anybody in the floor to speak.
This is. You are my father to censor like outside business. Are you my parenting?
Minnesota or Texas. Those are pretty good guesses. We got them here. We got it's not Canada. It's Definitely the U.S. That was a good guess, though. USA, it's not Jersey. Jeff, it's not Minnesota or Texas.
It's India.
It's not even. It's not India. It is the U.S. Jeff. Do you want to take a guess of where this is from? It's a place you and I both know pretty well.
Hey, that's Detroit, but it's probably either Dearborn or Hamtramck.
Bing, 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 bing. Hamtramck. This is Hamtramck, Michigan, right here, Jeff. Hamtramck, Michigan. An absolute. Just an absolute. What's going on up there, man? I was like, of course it's Hamtramck, Jeff.
Yeah.
You totally. I knew you would nail that. I knew that you would nail that. Well, you saw what happened with the election being stolen, right? Over there in California.
Yeah,
well, check this out. Spencer Pratt is burning it all down. Watch this bang. Watch this.
Campaign portion of my mission to save Los Angeles is coming to a close, and I'm moving on to the next, more interesting phase. Listen, I've spent a lot of time slaying everybody. I've ridiculed everyone on the roster, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take the chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. You think you can get rid of me that easily? I know a lot of dim-witted jerks thought I was in this for a grift, that I was going to roll up and leave town if I didn't get into City Hall.
It's just not fair.
Hey, morons, I didn't get in this for political power. I got in this to expose this corrupt machine, and nothing has changed. You enjoy your worthless meetings in City Hall.
Nithya, you have all this information. You're running for mayor. Show what you're really about, or get the fuck out of the race.
I'm going to be lighting you up every single day, and now I don't have to worry about offending CNN viewers. I don't have a campaign laws hamstringing me now. It's war. It's 0 hour for Los Angeles. Angelinos are now stuck with two morons responsible for all their problems, and they have to choose between Dumb and Dumber. That's not a choice. That's the machine protecting the machine. And now every problem that plagues Los Angeles because of these two corrupt communists is going to accelerate. And the city will tumble headlong into the abyss. You have no idea how many major developers, hoteliers, business owners, entrepreneurs have been texting me saying they're packing up and leaving town. More of your favorite restaurants will be shuttering. That means less tax revenue. That means the city has to cut services. More potholes, less firefighters, less police patrols, more criminals, more drug addicts terrorizing your communities. And we haven't ended it. You have no idea how bad things are about to get for this city. Look at this place already. Weeds growing from every crack and crevice. Graffiti over every square inch of public space. Garbage, drugs, feces, burned up dogs, burned down towns, abandoned storefronts. This city is a mess, and you're about to reward the arsonist who torched the place with 4 more years of destruction?
I know he's very bitter.
My goal hasn't changed. I've been laser focused on stopping these commie animals, and I will stop them. If you think we uncovered a lot of fraud and evil in the campaign, just wait. We have some recordings of one of your exalted candidates doing and saying something that would make her resign in shame. I was saving it for the general election. Go ahead and pick your demon, certify your choice, and then you get to see it. So Karen, Nithya, ask yourself, is it possible that one of your employees may have a recording of you doing or saying something that would force you to resign in disgrace? Hope you sleep well at night over the next 5 months, because you know who hasn't slept well at all for the last 17 months? My mom. All my neighbors in the Palisades, all the moms who worry about their kids walking past drug addicts in front of their schools, all the business owners getting crushed in the LA economy, worried that they can't stay in business and feed their kids. Angelinos have been struggling for years now, all while corrupt politicians and fraudulent NGOs profit off the misery and fleece us for the tax dollars. Well, now we're flipping the script. I want all of you awake at night sweating and worried about 5 a.m. when the FBI blazers bust in the door, breaking open your office, because I assure you, they're coming. You think your election was going to stop me? If you want to stop me,
you're going to have to fucking kill me!
Dude, I think Spencer Pratt might be the most underrated candidate of all time. He's going to burn it down, burn the effing place down. He's going to collapse it. And it's going to go very badly. It's so funny. He's got nothing to lose at this point. He had nothing to lose before. I think they'll uncover election fraud. There's supposedly 100,000 of more votes, but they didn't want to call it when he was ahead. But as soon as Nithya, the ramen noodle, they call her, ramen noodle got up there, then all of a sudden, boom, we got to call it. No, call it. We got to call it, right? This is crazy, Jeff.
Immediately. And they have until July. They have 30 days. Right.
You think they're counting any votes, Jeff? And they're arriving by helicopter. Where did all these votes come from? They're bringing them in days, weeks after the election. Sure.
Now, why are they bringing votes in anyways? Why aren't they tabulated at the polling place?
India I forgot how many people voted in their last general election when Modi just got reelected. One day, Jeff, Hand counted. One day. Modi, boom, back in. But it was a lot more than any other country, I can assure you of that. Way more than a general here in the United States. And yet, so we know what it's about. We know these are BS. There's no chain of command. You don't even need a signature. Somebody put a smiley face on a thing. It's like, it's okay as long as you get somebody else to witness it. And there's a scribble. Who's that person?
We need to go back to just like they did in Iraq, where they had to dip their finger in the ink.
Remember that?
Yeah, that was perfect. That's how it needs to be again.
Well,
that's how it has to be here.
You knew you could only vote once. You had the big old red stain on your thing. You couldn't get it off that easily. Of course, people walked around with that for 2 years, but it's okay.
Right.
with the indelible.
Don't get to vote next year either.
It's like, yeah, you can vote for 2 more years, Now, this is funny, Jeff. Let's move to the UK. Okay, let's move to the UK here. So this is a banger right here. This anthem must be playing throughout. When they got that call to prayer going? Crank this one up on 11. Watch this. I love this woman here. Look at this.
Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. If they're men, send them back. We haven't got room, we can't keep track. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Keep them off our shores, send them back to fight their wars. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. They rape, they lie, them want to stay, but we don't agree with it, so send them all away. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot.
Wonder if she's in prison yet, Jeff.
Those only solution.
What a banger. And then
rid of them all.
There's 2 places you could be like, Jeff. Do you want to be like France or do you want to be like Poland? Let's see what these 2 look like together. Now, there's France on the left and Poland on the right. By the way, that's in
that's to be like Poland.
That's an old town right there. I've been in there. I've been in that square. I've eaten in that square. They had to rebuild it after the war, but it's phenomenal, man. Poland is a great country. I really say the Polish people are phenomenal. Their language, I don't even know how you speak Polish, but I tried to. This is before I was there before the whole, the GPS you had them in the cars, but the sole smartphone, Jeff, I couldn't pronounce the streets, and I was with somebody that natively spoke Polish, who would say, no, it's this, it's Washington Street. I'm like, what? And then I look at the name, and it didn't sound anything like what they just said. I was like, I can't navigate. I couldn't get out of Warsaw. We were driving down we were driving south, and I couldn't even figure out. Like 40 minutes we didn't get out of Warsaw. I'm like, dude, I'm looking at the map, but none of this shit makes sense. I was like, couldn't figure it out. It was really rough.
Dazzleford's been to Poland. It's an awesome country.
Dazzleford's over there fighting the good fight. So you want to be like Poland. You don't want to be like France. You want to be a little bit more. I think we're going to hear some news on her, of course. Jeff, look at this. Here's a UK presenter. She went to a part of London to show you how accessible and friendly it was. And she was going to talk about how racist people are. Didn't go so well, Jeff.
Community leaders have been speaking to the police as well because...
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Fuck India!
But I think, apologies for the language you're hearing, but a sense of the anger, I think you can hear there.
Yeah, Katie, I think Becky, I apologize. We need to be there and...
What's so funny is the left's wrong on everything. I don't care what country it is; they're just mentally ill. It's like God Sad's book, Suicidal Empathy. I mean, if that book tells you the whole story. It's like, what is one of the stories he has in the book, Jeff, is about the one guy in the Scottish I don't know what they call it, not the Senate, but whatever the guy the guy from another country, a brown guy, talking about there's too many white people.
Yeah,
and there's too many white people. You're in Scotland.
That was Scotland. He was the prime minister of Scotland.
Like, so the prime minister is like going, there's too many white people. There's too many white people.
Long for him. They ousted him.
Exactly. There's nobody going to say there's too many black people. I mean, this is how pathetic it is. Every other race is fine. You can't be. It's a crime to be white. Do you remember that kid that put up in one of the college towns? It's okay to be white. Oh my God, they harassed the shit out of that kid because he was like saying it's okay to be white. You know, it's like what? They're saying he was racist, the white supremacist. It's just insane.
Oh yeah, it's the narrative.
It's lost earlier with Drew from the French Open.
Who was?
He said all of the tennis favorites lost early or withdrew at the French Open. Yeah, the French Open, of course, Parliament for that. I was like, what the hell? It's parliamentary system, man. It's another failed system. Look, when Ireland reclaims Ireland, when the North and South unite, listen, it's going to be a pushover. The Irish can overrun them. Take back your government and say, hey, let's write a constitution like the United States did that was written by the people, and let's first free speech, and two, the right to bear arms. You put those two things in place, they're like checks and balances there. So this is the whole difference between winning and losing. When you lose free speech, it's like funny. They always take your guns away, and geez, it devolves into a really shithole fast. Look what happened in Australia, look what happened in the UK, and look at the knife attacks. The knife attacks are 10x, but they don't take
the knife attacks are increasing, and they're getting worse. They're random.
About cars, ramming into people. Not taking cars away, but guns kill people.
Guns are bad.
There's so much mental illness going on, Jeff. It's really hard to really understand exactly where to start.
Crazy. Well, we can start at the top, get rid of those people, and then we can clean up the bottom.
Law/constitution are relevant without enforcement. 100%. Steelers play in Paris. I know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Dude, I'm glad the Bills aren't playing over there. I don't like these international games, not because I don't like them traveling, because you have a short week. You got to get on a plane for 10, 12 hours to go travel these places. You screw up your time clock. Your performance slips when you go to these international games. I like the idea of promoting it.
And they both suffer, though.
Let's be honest. Nobody gives a rat's ass in Europe. They don't give a shit about American
football. They pack stadiums, though. They probably don't care, but they pack the stadium.
Free tickets, Jeff. I think they just give the tickets away. It's not like watching your favorite football team over in the UK, perform or get deregulated. It's not. It doesn't. None of that shit matters. I mean, they don't care about American football. They don't even know the rules. I try to explain to people. They're like, oh, nobody over there understands one rule about American football. They have no clue. They don't know. It's not fun for them to watch. I love it. I know. I know Charles loves it. I mean, it's my number one sport. I live and die for it. I love it. I consume all the news I possibly can on it, but I hate the part that it's a woke NFL. You got guys that have been
that's a major issue.
4 or 5 guys have been arrested, but oh no, you can't have an Jackson Dart, who's the rookie quarterback for New York Giants, introduce Trump. He'll get state. He has to come on and apologize. No. Yeah, I got mugged in Dublin, of course. I remember that. Jeez, man, that's ridiculous.
If you go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and you see the retractable floor, and they retract it, and they have a football field underneath the pitch, which is really cool. And then they have the games over there every year.
Really? Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
You mean American football pitch?
American football, you have their pitch, and then that retracts, and you have the American football field.
Oh, interesting.
Let's not call our field a pitch.
Yeah, see, like I know plenty about soccer, way more than anybody from the EU knows anything about American football. They don't care. I know there's some good fans in Australia. I met a Bills fan. I was like, my buddy, I was saying, he goes, well, do you bring any Bills paraphernalia? I went, dude, I'm in Australia. Nobody gives a shit about the first guy I run into. Man, hey, Chip, I watch your podcast. I love the Bills too. I'm a Bills supporter. He had a Bills shirt on, a Bills hat. I was like, son of a bitch, somebody's punking me here. What's going on? Every once in a while he'll pop in and say, hey, I'm, so and so from Australia, and they love their rugby, man. They love their football too.
Well, it's cool. So Dazzle's saying that Man U was playing Milan in Poland, but what's really cool is those same pre-games they play over here as well. So all over the U.S., there's different teams that'll play. Yeah, so we saw, I forget who it was last year, but we saw in Orlando. We went and watched Man U. I've seen we've seen a whole bunch of teams playing in Orlando. So it's really cool when you get the preseason games and the stadiums get packed up. It's a lot of fun.
It was fantastic to watch the game in the United States. You saw, it was funny because they showed Tom Cruise and they were saying he was actually singing the national anthem with his hand over his heart. And they're like, Patriot, you know, and they had a bunch of other, there was a ton of celebrities there last night at the game. What about the Browns? Nothing's going to save the Browns, bro. That's the bottom line. If you get traded to the Browns, like what just happened in that big trade, your career's over, dude.
And then how about the Indiana Bears?
There's only one thing worse than the Browns, and that's the Jets, but they're marginal at best. If you're the Browns, you live by the mistake. You're the mistake on the lake, and nothing's going to save you. Tractable ruse, failed quarterbacks. If you leave, though, if you're lucky enough to get out of that system, you're going to do even better than you ever have. And that's probably what we're going to see this year. You want to see some more hypocrisy on the left, Jeff? Not like there's any shortage of it, but here we go. Jen Psaki talking about there are no labs in the Ukraine that were funded by the government. Here she is. And then she's going to get checked by Tulsi Gabbard.
History also of inventing outright lies like this, which is the suggestion that the United States has a chemical and biological weapons program, or Ukraine does, that they're operating. Russia is the country that has a chemical and biological weapons program. So,
by the way, that was one of the reasons cited. They took that out because they were developing, doing another COVID shit. And one of the first things that Russia took out were all the labs. But that was hush hush, and this is what it came up in the new press conference. Oh no, Russia makes up lies. The U.S. isn't doing anything.
So the objective was to make clear the inaccuracy of the information, the misinformation they're trying to put out, and make clear to the world that they not only have the capacity, they have a history of using chemical and biological weapons, and that in this moment we should have our eyes open for that possibility.
Today, I'm releasing new evidence of long-standing U.S. government funding of more than 120 biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine, which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a U.S.-funded biolab in Ukraine likely housed dangerous pathogens, as the information surrounding the existence, history, locations, and funding of these U.S.-funded biolabs has been intentionally covered up by very powerful people who falsely claimed that these biolabs didn't exist. Now, they accuse anyone who says otherwise to be foreign assets and traitors to America.
There you go. There's the left and the right in a simple snapshot. So funny how the left,
very clear.
And that Jen Psaki was horrible at her job. And then the other one with the one that came after her was even worse. What, two lunatics, man. Just two lunatics.
Well, Sean is saying we have them in friggin' the U.S. They caught a guy from NIH sneaking vials in before the World Cup.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. But
saying
this whole thing, but this like Russia bad, Ukraine bad. It's funny because this is Jeff. This is I don't know if you heard about this, but so you had that little nut job from the Ukraine. What's his name? The former failed comedian. Zelensky comes over and he meets over at with the prime ministers, right? So they had Merz there, they had Macron, and then they had Starmer. They were all meeting, snapping pictures together.
Yeah. This
is where Starmer said, we're going to give you our support. We're going to back you. We're going to send troops. We're going to do this. Well, the next day, the guy that runs the whole, the service, the armed services resigned. He said, there's no money to do any of what he's just talking about. So so that just went, it just died a horrible death. These people are useless. They're feckless.
So
they
crazy.
can't accomplish anything. Starmer got the biggest ass beating of all. And everyone's like, he's got to be replaced. Well, all they do is bring in Starmer 2.0. They bring another asshole that's worse than Starmer. They put him in there. The party's going to put their own guy in there until you have the majority. Parliament is such a bad system, man. Such a bad system. Horrible system. We find the vanilla bros. Fail. That's why you have, the EU used to be bigger GDP than the US. It's like a third of it now. I mean, it's just
it's a joke.
Germany said, "Oh, we can't have nuclear power." They closed all their nuclear power plants, and they didn't have enough power to manufacture stuff, so they moved their factories to Poland and the US because they can't make stuff anymore. They don't have any power because ideology, green energy. And then this doom apocalypse is so spun because of the global warming, another nonsense narrative. These people, all they want is more taxes, more money, but they never solve the problem. Look at what's her name, Karen Bass. She said, I'm going to solve homelessness by 26. Yeah, 17% change, marginal at best. She's like, well, we didn't solve it. That's why we need another 4 years. It's the same thing. If you look, if you're a critical thinker and you can kind of look past the ideology of feel goods. I mean, people say Jeff and I, we're just shills for the Trump administration. Well, the Trump administration, I think, just did a very bad miscue by closing down Anthropic, a public company. They want to be, so Trump's idea knows that the race is with AI. He who controls AI controls the people, controls everything. So if you allow China to win that war, it's going to go very badly for the rest of the world. If you allow the EU, which they don't have any, there's no tech over there, is zero tech. Now it could change in the future, but you want to be putting data centers in data centers. Data centers are going everywhere. Data centers, we got more data centers. But then you're now calling it that we got to regulate it. We got to close it down. It's a very bad look. It was a very bad move. Instead of investigating, instead of going deeper. Now, the funny thing is Anthropic has been working with the government about releasing this. This wasn't done in some back room. It was done full disclosure to the government. For the government to shut it down is very bad, sends a very bad signal for what's going on in AI. I don't know where
there's got to be more. There's got to be so much more to it. That
I see it, saying foreign nationals can be jailbroke. Any frontier model can be jailbroke to some degree. There's no fail safe. And it sounds like they're picking winners and losers, which the government should never do. Why? Because they kicked Anthropic out and they put OpenAI, but OpenAI's Codex model is pretty damn powerful, Jeff, and it could probably be used to root out some cyber security stuff too, and can probably be jailbroke. Okay, so you're now picking one over another, and I don't like when any government does that. I don't care if it's Trump administration, anything. I think sets a very bad precedent, and there's zero coming out of the government. I've searched for it. What's the government's official position? Nothing. 5:30 yesterday said shut it down because they're worried about foreign nationals. Well, they can't stop foreign nationals. They don't know who. It could be from China here in the U.S. They can't regulate it by IP. They're not doxing you. Now, there's KYC AML to see who you are. I mean, to me, it was a bad move. I think it was a very bad move.
Yeah. And here's some commentary on it, which said, to the best of our knowledge, this is the first time the United States has issued an export control directive for LLM access ever. This directive affects not only the U.S. closest allies, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, but their nationals as well, regardless of whether or not they reside in the U.S. In effect, any application depending on U.S.-based LLMs is subject to being shut down at any moment as a result of an export control directive. For Fable 5, Mythos 5, there was no forewarning. Access ceased almost immediately. For us at Isaacus, the Australia-based foundational legal AI research company operating in the U.S., UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and the UA and the EU, this reality only further cements our position that frontier artificial intelligence ought to be accessible to everyone rather than concentrated in the hands of a select few frontier labs, ourselves included. To that end, every single model we've released has from day one been available for air-gapped self-hosting. We have no plans on changing that. In fact, we've doubled down on AI sovereignty, actively shaping our product roadmap so they go into depth based on the issue at hand. Since they've so easily and quickly froze people out. So the question is if it's going to be short term or when this comes back. But so far there hasn't been any news for the past 8 hours.
No, there's been no news. The other thing that bothers, the other thing too is Mythos, they knew enough not to release that because of the cybersecurity risk. The fact that there was a 22-year-old software that they found, vulnerabilities in the kernel. They also found, so they licensed the companies like Apple and Palo Alto, big organizations, the IBMs of the world, to make sure to run on their networks, to make sure their stuff was secured because they're worried about, in the wrong hands could take down grids, could take down the entire system, right? Could take down, it could do a lot of damage. They basically put a lot of safeguards around it, but what's enough safeguards? And so the government dictating that you can do this and can't do that. I just think it was a very bad misstep, a very stupid misstep to go ahead and make now it's one thing to investigate and work closely with them and say, hey, we really got to talk about this. But it wasn't like Anthropic released this without the government's knowledge. So I don't know if it was somebody internally. I don't know where the directive came. It's counter to where the position of the Trump administration's been. People always say to me, Chip, you're such a sycophant for Trump. I criticize Trump a lot. I criticize this administration. Maybe you don't hear it here. I do a lot of it. I don't agree with everything. Nobody should agree with everything. There's things that have been done that I think are miscues, missteps that shouldn't have happened. You know, for the most part, yeah, because I'm a conservative, I believe in conservative values, but there's other things that go the Rhino way, and I just talk about them, you know, vehemently. And I just think that this smells very bad. It was a very bad move. You can't be, we're going to build so many data centers so we can have AI, and then boom, we're not even into the big AI era, and you've already shut down one of the most impressive models out there. But people were building their businesses around it. Companies, you know, small companies like mine, you know, one person sort of things that were thriving are now getting shut down by this. As soon as that happened, I go, oh God, I got 4 days of coding to do what I was going to do, and basically a one-shot prompt. Where I spent all day yesterday putting all my stuff together to be able to get to a point of where this is ready to go, and I launch it, all the assets to feed it, everything, launch it, boom, and it creates it in a couple hours, and I'm done. The whole website's built, and then I tweak it. Nope. Not anymore. So it's not only my dissatisfaction, but you're cutting off.
Now you're back to Opus 4.8.
I might be checking out Codex because I've heard so many good things about it. I might just have to see if I can let Codex just run with some agents or Hyper Agent. I'll go to Hyper Agent and see what I can get done over there. But like, there's so many models, and it's like it's a new shiny object. But to me, it smells bad. Like OpenAI ended up taking the slot that Anthropic got, you know, moved out of, and now OpenAI, they're not closing down Codex, which has the same jailbreak capabilities. Codex is very powerful, and they're not stopping that. So to me, and there's no proof that anything has been jailbroke to the point of where it can do any damage. So to me, I don't know. This was a bad step. Now
they haven't presented anything.
They're working closely with Anthropic, but to all of a sudden come out and just shut them down. I mean, they didn't say shut it down. They said you got to stop foreign nationals. Well, impossible. You can't restrict by IP. They don't know who you are. There's no KYC.
So they shut it all down. That's why they disabled it.
They had no other. They had no other option. Like the directive was stop foreign nationals. Well, you can't do that. And so whoever issued that directive ought to be strung up, because they ought to be deleted from the Trump administration, because you basically put all of AI into chaos. You pissed off a lot of people, but you hurt a lot of entrepreneurs. You hurt a lot of people who were already doing big things with it. And bad move, man. Bad move. And I hope there's enough people out there to talk about this that have a voice bigger than ours, because it just smells rotten, dude.
Yep.
So bad move. I don't know who did it. And the fact that there's nothing coming from the government is even sadder. I know it came out at 5:30 on a Friday, but for silence from the government, I mean, we'll probably hear more unfold, and who knows if it was a temporary thing, if the U.S. says, okay, we're going to, and does the U.S. even know, do they have any hard evidence that it's been jailbroke? Could they have any real evidence? Because guess what? Any frontier model, LLM, has the same problem. You're not going to say single it out, but it's Anthropic, you know, it's Perplexity, it's OpenAI. They all have the same vulnerabilities that they can jailbreak it. For example, I'll put something that's very political into there, and it says, I'm sorry, that's political. I can't do that. And then all I do is ask it again, and it gives it to me. Well, that's jailbreaking, because they have a throttle on it. I just jailbroke it, right? Because I did force OpenAI to answer. I go, that's okay. I'll go to Grok because you suck. And it's like, well, you know, I'm not a partisan. I don't want to take any political issues. I'm like, F you. I asked you to help me with some research. And I said, but you're very partisan. Said but I am not. I'd be fair. Okay, let's try this. Was Obama a good president? Yes. Is Trump a good president? No. Okay, there you go, stupid. I'm like, there you go. You just proved yourself. But Trump has endangered blah, blah, blah. You're a woke piece of shit, is what I put in there next. So I go to Grok and I get exactly what I want. I get the research, I get the stuff, or I go to Claude and get exactly what I want. But you're going to sit there and limit me, this woke shit, you know, and Anthropic has a little bit of that too. Grok has none of it. Grok is so blatantly honest, punch you in the face is what it does. So anyway, Jeff, we did 2 hours today. We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. We did a 2-hour podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for staying to the end. One person that still watches till the end of our podcast.
We had a large group stay through the entire time. We were up in the 90s. Up in the 90s live. So it's didn't really say this much earlier on, but want to say we appreciate everybody that spends your Saturdays with us, whether it's Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning over in Australia, or Saturday night, I should say. Flip flop when we stream on Sundays, it's always the next day, for many people, or it's super early in the morning or late at night, however you want to spin it. Hans Tor is still here. Look at that. We keep people all the way through. Appreciate you guys. We are back on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You want to show some support to the show, make sure you like and subscribe, and you can always join us here on YouTube. We will have some changes coming up in the near future. You can get our Badassery coffee. Go to badasserycoffee.com. Look at that Badassery logo. We have some Badassery merch that we're going to start promoting. Think you guys are going to love that. Hats, shirt, hoodie, all with this beautiful logo on it. It's the greatest, best shirt you've ever seen. I love the logo. Amazing logo. That would be another way for you guys to support. But just keep showing up here, like and subscribe. Appreciate all you guys. Go to onthechain.io. Subscribe over there. Also, because onthechain.io, if you miss a show, and you're like, shit, I can't search it up on my podcast, can't figure out where to find it on YouTube, even though you can. But if you go to onthechain.io, you'll see the last show we did. You'll see the podcast, the video from YouTube, all the articles that we covered, brief summary. And then the best part is if you subscribe on thechain.io, you'll also get a brief email that goes out with the last show that we did with all this content in there. So that's all we got. We'll check you guys out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
see, like there, you click on this, you can see all the places you can watch. See, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify. We're on Spotify, so guys, check us out on Spotify. You can watch the video. You can see the summary of what we talked about and all the articles that we talked about during the actual show. You can see them all there. If you saw something cool and you want to repost it or you want to revisit it, they're all there. So we do all this stuff for you guys as a benefit. This gets emailed to you if you missed the show. XRP is still in the game. Go back to the first hour. You'll see. 2 hours ago, we talked about that. But go ahead. You'll be able to see that.
In the game.
But yeah, and then we got a big interview coming up next Saturday with Hugo Philion, the CEO and founder of Flare. He will be right here on the chain. Do not miss it. We'll start promoting that all week, Jeff.
Massive.
Yeah. Start putting some questions together. And guys, start putting some of your questions together. Things you'd like us to ask. We'll put it into our part of our interview process. But looking forward to it, guys. We will see you guys all in the next one. For now, have a great weekend. Chip and Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.